I'm going on a year-long book buying ban because I'm trying to get my physical TBR from 100, well over 100, down to 30. Hello my sweet bookish friends, and welcome back to my channel. To my right here, I have two very large book stacks of all the books I've gotten recently, and the only books that I will be buying for the rest of the year. Aside from special events like traveling and my birthday, you can't see them, but I do have two very large book stacks here, and I'm going to be going through them in no particular order. So just going straight into it, the first two that I have are the new special editions of The Hunger Games. Fun fact, I actually didn't like the third book in this series. I gave it like 2 stars, so I only bought the first two. I think I might just need to reread the last book, but I thought these were just too beautiful to pass up, and I really want to do a Hunger Games reread soon because I believe the day that this video comes out is the day that Sunrise on the Reaping comes out. I'm so excited. Next, I actually have the UK edition of this book, and that is Wings of Starlight. I'm so excited for this one because growing up, I was a huge Tinkerbell person, and I still am like a huge Tinkerbell fan. So this one follows Queen Clarion, and I believe it is a like fantasy romance. While most warm season fairies fear the legends of monsters lurking in the winter woods, Clarion can't help being intrigued, but she has little time to dwell on daydreams while the days to her coronation dwindle away. When reports of a monster crossing from winter into spring make their way to the palace, Clarion travels to the edge of winter where she finds Mylery, a young guardian of the winter woods. Together they form an unlikely bond as they race to save their lands. But as their alliance warms, they discover there is a reason a warm season fairy and a winter fairy must not be together. And the cost could be just as deadly as the monsters that prowl the winter woods. I got the UK edition because I not only don't really like hardbacks, but the UK edition is just so much prettier than the US edition, I feel like. So very excited for this one. The next one that I have is Aurora Rising, and this is a YA sci-fi novel. I have been really wanting to get into more sci-fi, especially YA sci-fi, because I feel like sometimes adult sci-fi can be a little bit intimidating and it goes like way over my head sometimes. I read Skyward by Brandon Sanderson, and it wasn't my favorite, but I really loved like the vibes that it gave off, I guess. So I found Aurora Rising, and this is, I think, kind of something similar. The year is 2380 and the graduating cadets of Aurora Academy are being assigned their first missions. It follows a squad of misfits, some girl that our main character has rescued from interdimensional space, trapped in some sort of sleep for 2 centuries. It sounds really intriguing, and it has pretty good ratings on Goodreads and Fable, so I have very high hopes for it. Next, I have Little Monsters, and this is a YA mystery thriller. I feel like YA mystery thrillers are just ones that, they're like potato chip books for me. They're just like good palate cleansers, one that I can like binge through really easily. This one follows our main character who is a new girl in this town. There's a big party that happens, and then one of the girls does not come home from the party. And it says, Casey, our main character, is about to learn some very important lessons. Sometimes appearances can be deceiving, and sometimes when you're the new girl, you shouldn't trust anyone. I feel like these types of books, again, are just potato chip books. I feel like I just always need these types of books, especially like when I'm in a slump or something, you know, so I think that'll be fun. Next is one of my most anticipated reads of the year, and that is Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales. This is the third and last, well, I don't know if it's the last book, but it's the third book in the Emily Wilde series. I just absolutely love these characters. I love this world. It's truly like one of my favorite book series of all time, and the covers are always just so fun. And now I have the completed series like of these editions. I'll also show you the other editions that I have because they are all just so fun and pretty. If you haven't read this series yet, it's a really fun and wholesome like fantasy romance, but not like a romantasy. It's like a fun fairy fantasy with some academia vibes, some really funny and fun banter. It's just a good time. Next is another one of my most anticipated reads for the year, and that is Rebel Witch. I really liked the first one. It didn't like wow me as much as I thought it was going to, but I did have a really good time with it, and the way that it ended literally had me shocked, and I immediately needed the next book, so I'm so glad that I have it, and I will be reading this soon for a reading vlog, so definitely stay tuned. This series basically follows a witch and a witch hunter, and they end up basically falling in love. So very cat and mouse, very like doomed from the start. It's really easy to read and understand. I'm so excited to get into this one. The next one that I have is Clockwork Angel, and this one is, I believe, technically like the beginning of the Infernal Devices. Yeah, the Infernal Devices, but it's the world of the Shadow Hunters. So this is like technically all the books like in this world. There might even be more now. I've heard nothing but good things about this series, so I'm very much looking forward to finally getting into it, and this will be my first Cassandra Clare book. It also takes place in Victorian England, which I've been absolutely loving the like old English vibe in books lately, so I think this will be really fun. I really don't even know how to explain this book, so you'll just have to look up the synopsis, but all I really know about it is that everybody loves it, so that was enough for me to get it. Also, just a little side note, obviously all these books will be in some future reading vlogs, and when it comes to digitally keeping track of all of my books and content surrounding the books, I can end up with like multiple copies of files and just a lot of digital junk in general, which I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to that. So I'm really excited to be partnering with Clean My Mac on this video to quickly talk to you guys about how much it has helped me lately and how much I know that it can help you guys. Clean My Mac is an app that basically replaces dozens of optimization tools for Mac with tools like My Clutter, Cleanup, and the Moonlock anti-malware engine, which all helps free up gigabytes of space, deletes duplicates, helps keep your Mac clean and organized, and just more tidying up to help make room for your creativity. With the current changing of the seasons, thank goodness it's spring, and everyone's doing their like spring cleaning and organizing, it's a perfect time to not only get like physically clean and organized, but also digitally clean and organized. I just feel like when I'm digitally organized as well, I feel like my creativity and my brain can just flow so much better. Whether you're a student, if you work online, or even are just like a general user, anyone and everyone can benefit from this app, because if we're being totally honest with ourselves, we all know we're not going to take the time to go through and try to find what's taking up storage and then take the time to delete all of that stuff. So to save yourself some time and stress, you can click the link down in my description to download Clean My Mac and get 7 days free plus 20% off. Literally, you guys, I have saved so much space on my computer, it's not even funny. Thank you so much to Clean My Mac for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back to our little book haul. The next book that I got, I've actually already read this, but it's the second book in the Emily Wilde series, but now I have the full series like in this specific edition. So I think it's just gonna look so pretty on my bookshelf. The next one that I got is, well, the next two that I got are ones that I have literally never heard of. One is a newer release, but the first one I have is Sky's End. And this one I think came out last year, but I believe this one is kind of like a sci-fi fantasy, and this one follows our main character, 16-year-old Conrad, and he refuses to become heir to his murderous uncle. But when sky serpents attack the floating island of Homestead and devour Conrad's ailing mother, Conrad cuts a deal to save the only family he has left. To rescue his sister from his uncle's clutches, Conrad must enter the selection of the 12 trades. He goes through some rigorous training, manipulative peers, and the Gauntlet, which is a brutal final challenge that pits Conrad's skyship crew against the very terrors that orphaned him. I just think that this is such a unique and interesting like world and premise. I think what really drew me in was this picture on the cover, because it paints a really good picture of like what this world's gonna look like with the big sky serpent and like the floating islands. I don't know, that just like sounded really cool to me. And then the next one I have is a new release, and that is We Were Warned. This is another YA mystery thriller, but this one sounds really interesting. It's basically about, there's like some lore around this abandoned beach resort, and in this town it's basically said that whoever like enters there ends up dying. So of course, teenagers being teenagers, they host a party at this place, and then of course someone ends up dead. So our main character Eden, she knows she saw something suspicious at the ruins, and her other longtime tormentors did too. Now they're all being followed by a deadly stranger, and to save themselves they must work together to uncover the truth about Fairport Village. I think it sounds really good. Again, I haven't heard anything about it because it is a newer and like lesser known YA mystery thriller, so I'm so excited to read it without any like strong opinions on it by anyone yet. The next one that I have is a little bit personal, but it's something that I feel like should be talked about more because I know a lot of people struggle with this. But the next one that I have is a nonfiction. So my next one is The Sexual Healing Journey, a guide for survivors of sexual abuse. I wasn't sure if I wanted to add this into this video or not, but again, I think it's really important to talk about and bring awareness to because I know a lot of people struggle with this topic. I haven't read it yet, obviously, because I just got it, but I was recommended this book by a friend of mine that is a therapist. So if you or somebody that you know is going through this or is like a past victim of this that is still struggling with the after effects of that, then I would definitely check this one out. The next one that I have was actually sent to me by the publisher, so thank you for sending this to me. But that is The Perfect Divorce by Geneva Rose. This is the following book to The Perfect Marriage, which I haven't read The Perfect Marriage yet, but I have heard good things about it. So now that I have the second one, I'll be able to go right into it if I really, really love the first one. And this one comes out April 15th. And this one also is an adult mystery thriller, obviously like a domestic mystery thriller. Next, I have John Scalzi's Starter Villain. This one just looks like a really fun and funny sci-fi novel. So this one follows our main character, Charlie, and Charlie's life is kind of in shambles. His long-lost uncle dies and leaves him his supervillain business. It says, but becoming a supervillain isn't all giant laser death rays and lava pits. His uncle had enemies and now they're coming after Charlie. I only know, I think, one person personally who's read this and they really liked it, so, and it just sounds right up my alley. Like anything that's really funny and quirky but also has like a fun, you know, plot to it. I feel like I really enjoy those types of books, so I think this one will be really fun. The next one that I got, I also already read this, but that is When in Rome. This is a 5-star, 6-star read for me, so I really wanted to get the physical copy because I did read it on my Kindle. If you want a super cute and cozy romance with small town vibes, grumpy sunshine, I would recommend nothing other than this. Next, I have I believe this is the 3rd and 4th books of the Legend series, and that is Champion and Rebel. This is a YA dystopian series. I believe it was like really popular like when I was a kid, you know, in the late like 2010s or whatever. I've only read the first 2 books so far, and I did really enjoy them, so I'm very much looking forward to getting to the rest of the series and finishing this series, because I've noticed that like the first book was good, but the second book was even better. Now I feel like it's just gonna get better throughout the series. The next one that I have is Lisa Gardner's Still See You Everywhere, and this is the 3rd book in the like Frankie Elkin series. So the first one was Before She Disappeared, the second one was One Step Too Far. So these 2 books and these are adult mystery thrillers, but I would say like the first one felt more like mystery than thriller. Like I was never really like thrilled, and the second one was more like fast-paced and just like anxiety the whole time, but like in a good way. And I know this one, I believe it's like them on vacation or something. Oh nope, it says a young girl kidnapped in Hawaii 12 years ago, a female serial killer awaiting execution in Texas in just 3 weeks time, and a recovering alcoholic with more regrets than belongings determined to find justice. 3 women on one terrifying trajectory where the sins of the past and the secrets in the present all have their power to kill. I gave the first book 3.75 stars, the second book 4 stars, so I'm hoping that this one is also really good. I think the fact that it's like I believe it's in Hawaii, like set in Hawaii, is gonna be really fun. I am going to Hawaii this year, so that'll be fun to read like while I'm there. Next one that I have is Anxious People, and this one I actually used to own, but then when I picked it up originally, I thought it was like a funny crime novel because it's basically following a group of characters, but it's like a character who goes to like rob a bank, and then at the same time there's like a couple looking at an apartment or something, and then the guy that robs the bank ends up like going to this apartment, I think to hide or something, and he ends up taking these people that are looking at the apartment like as hostages. So in my brain, I thought it was like a funny crime novel, but no, I started reading it and then realized that this book is like more exploring like emotions, the human condition, like blah blah blah. So I ended up putting it down and like getting rid of it, but I do actually really want to read this again at some point. Knowing like what to expect now, I feel like I'm gonna like it so much better. And I did thrift this, so I got it for $2 at Goodwill. The next one I have is Normal People, and this one I also used to have it at one point, but I got rid of it, so I also thrifted it at Goodwill for $2. I don't even know how to explain like what this book is about, but it's Sally Rooney. It's gonna be emotional. It's more a fiction book following like emotions and connections and people and stuff. Next I have We Were Liars, which is another one that I believe I used to have, but again, thrifted it for $2, so not getting rid of it this time until I read it. This one really popped off a couple years ago, like on Book Talk and Instagram and BookTube and stuff. I believe it's a YA kind of mystery, maybe thriller, about this family. It's like a rich family, but I don't know, something shady, and they're all liars. Obviously, We Were Liars. And I just love a good, like, family drama novel, you know, sometimes. Okay, getting to the last 2, I also thrifted this next one at Goodwill for $2, but that is Butcher and Blackbird. This one I'm kind of nervous to go into because I know it's, like, is grotesque the right word? Like, just very, like, descriptive with the icky, like, murder stuff. But it's a love story following 2 serial killers. So I just think it's gonna be really funny and just a good time, but also kind of a gross time. So I don't know, looking forward to seeing how I react to this book. And then the last one that I have is Nothing Like the Movies by Lynn Painter. This is the follow-up book to Better Than the Movies, and if you have been watching my videos, you know that Better Than the Movies is like a 6-star read for me, which makes me really scared to go into this one because I'm like, is that a book that should have just been a standalone and not expanded on? Because now I fear that this like won't live up to the first book and then it'll just like not ruin the first book for me, but you know what I mean? Either way, I love Wes and Liz and I'm so excited to be like back with these characters. But that's all I got for my book haul. I also have gotten like a ton of Kindle books from like Kindle Daily Deals and just ones that were like fairly cheap. I also use Libby a lot on my Kindle, so if you're looking for ways to like stuff your Kindle, so to say, Kindle Daily Deals and just using your Libby app with Kindle is great. Like I said before, I will be doing little book shopping here and there, like my birthday's coming up, so I know I'm probably gonna get like a book or 2 for that, and then I do have a trip coming at the end of April that I know that I'll probably get a book or 2 for. So other than that, I literally can't buy books unless I have a gift card for some reason, and I'm so excited because I just need to haul my butt and work through my TBR, and I like a good challenge, and you guys seem to like this challenge as well, tackling our TBRs together. So thank you so much to Clean My Mac for sponsoring today's video. Definitely go check them out. It's literally saved my life when it comes to like anything digital. I love you guys so much and I will see you in my next video. Mwah!